Right, guys, I am here with Leo from Mythic Games. Oh my God, we have some awesome things to talk about. Monsterpocalypse is on Kickstarter this week, and we're diving into the awesomeness that you guys have been putting together alongside the folks from Privateer Press. How are you doing, Leo? Is everything okay with you? Yeah?
I'm doing very well, Ben. Very, very well. Very excited by this new Kickstarter. Of course, I always am, but this one is special.
Oh, yes. I've heard you talking about how special this is to you, because obviously you said you grew up with a lot of like monster movies and all that kind of thing as well. So this must have been a little bit of a dream for you to put together, I think, with the guys from Privateer.
Absolutely. I totally remember the first release of this game and how big it was and how incredible it was at that time. You know, a kaiju monster fight. You didn't have games with that topic at that time. And being able to do a co-publication with Privateer Press that I've always been fond of is a dream come true.
So for anyone who's not familiar with Monsterpocalypse, and we've kind of had like a little bit of a brief overview there, kaiju action, robots and all that kind of thing. Can you tell sort of people what it's all about and sort of how you dive into playing a game of Monsterpocalypse?
Okay, so it's a battle game that will please all the people who like army fighting each other. Initially, it's a miniatures game, and it was a miniatures game. What we're doing, we're turning it into a board game. So that means you will have everything right out of the box. So you have two factions. You have, actually it's called agenda. You have the protectors agenda and you have the destroyers agenda. It takes place on Earth in a close future where, you know, the scientists could see in the skies a big comet that was about to crash, and they could see that it was inhabited by gigantic creatures. And so they knew the catastrophe was coming. And so they created a program called Guard. And this was all of the nations, the Earth's nations united secretly, because they didn't want to get people worried too early. They created the Guard program, and they created these big robots. And so when it finally crashes, they had the response and they could contain the threat. And after that, people realized that there were some secrets in the Earth, some gigantic Earth protectors, creatures that were sleeping and that awoke. And to protect the Earth, they don't really want to protect humans, so they don't mind destroying buildings and so on. They want to protect nature. So you have this agenda, which is made of which is called the protectors. And then you have some other creatures, like you have these big planet eaters. This guy is a protector. He's one of the protectors. Yes, you would think. And then you have like the big monsters. Some of are alien looking. You have some. This one is from another dimension, and you can see the reference probably. And yes, it's coming from another dimension, and they are summoned by cultists. You have some other creatures from other dimensions. You have the planet eaters. You have some sorts of aliens that want to destroy everything. You have even people from Mars and coming on tripods. Yes, of course, there are many references to this game, and the point is to really have like big, giant kaiju and robots fighting each other in the heart of a city filled with skyscrapers. And you also have units that will help you. And so the point of the game is really to decide which side you want to be on, then to create your forces. That means choosing one or two monsters from your own agenda, adding the units that come with them, choosing your buildings, because you see the 3D elements are very important in this game. So you choose your buildings, and the buildings will bring special rules also. So when you secure a building with your units, then you have this special rule for you. Sometimes for the monsters, the buildings are full of humans and they feed on them and just regenerate. But for the protectors, it's very different. They can have some re-rolls, or there are plenty of things that you can use during this game. So you come up with your force of big monsters, units, and buildings. You decide for a map, and then you play. And that was the initial game, and we have updated it, and we are adding more game modes.
Yeah, so obviously one of the core things about that, the initial Privateer Press game, and obviously the then release of the 2018 version of the game, was kind of the idea of it being the miniatures style game. And in the 2018 version, you obviously had to then build and assemble your miniatures and paint them and things like that. As you say, you've been sort of like adapting and changing things to make this almost a little bit of like an entry level points for a lot of people to try and get into Monsterpocalypse from a more sort of board game hobby side of things, which I think is really awesome. Could you tell us a little bit about some of the additional stuff you've done to kind of change and tweak the board game version of this to make it that a little bit more approachable?
Yes, you're right. As you said, you don't need to assemble, glue any of the miniatures. Everything is pre-assembled, ready to play. Also, in the retail version, there is no color difference. You need to paint them if you really want to see them. Here, they will come in a color, like reddish blue color. So you immediately notice which one is Destroyer. They are the red ones, and which ones are protectors. They are the blue ones.
Yeah.
So even if you don't paint them, you can play, and you immediately know who goes with whom. Mm-hmm. Also, in what we added are these bases, these textured bases. Yeah, so they are in solid plastic. They are textured, so it adds to the immersion, and we really want it to feel like a board game. So you have squares, and yes, you don't have to do anything. You can play right out of the box. Then we also updated the maps, as you can see here. We have done some new graphics, and because we have added like some thematic drawings on the map, we wanted people to make sure that they are not confused. So it's not as simple as the original map. So we wanted to make sure that there would be no problems. So when it's open terrain, we don't add any symbol. When it's rough terrain, we add a little symbol on the left on one of the corners. When it's impassable terrain, we add this little icon. And if you don't have any icon, that means that you can just go on this square. So these are some of the things. We are adding, of course, a new expansion that makes the game. It's called Battle Royale. You can play 3 or 4 players, and that was not possible before. So you have bigger maps, a 3-player map, a 4-player map. You have different and new modes. Now, they introduced a solo co-op game for 1 or 2 players called Megaton Mashup. So we are including that in the core box, and we are adding some new modes for 3 and 4 players with the brand new expansion called Battle Royale. So what you will have are these 2 maps, 3 and 4 players. You'll be able to play cooperative. You will be able to play versus, so 2v2. You will be able to play free for all. So in 3 players or 4-player game. We are adding some scenarios also in the co-op section. So you can play co-op games with some scenarios. Mm-hmm. And finally, we are adding like the big new monsters, such as this one.
Oh, God. They're so cool.
So this one is Nightmare Galamaxus. Mm-hmm. Nightmare Galamaxus. So we are adding 5 new big apex monsters, which have never been seen before. So of course they are very suited for cooperative games. So when you are 3 or 4 players, you need to fight a big monster. So let me show the size compared to some regular monster, and you will see. So you can see here that he's much bigger. Wow.
Yeah, they are way chunkier, aren't they? That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
So We are adding that. We have 5 of them out of the most popular monsters that were released. But one good thing to say is that they are not only used in co-op or solo games. You can also play them as regular monster. They're not, well, they are more powerful in the co-op version because they have a lot more health. But if you can also play them with standard games, and they just play differently. And so you could just have this guy against him. That would work. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Defender X versus Nightmare Galamaxis. That would also work. Yeah, that's also one of the things I like. With this game, I always play with my little toys.
That's the thing you've got to do. I think that's the thing that's really nice about Monsterpocalypse. And it's good to see that it's sort of like brought to the masses in this way with the board game version of it. Is you get that kind of like tactile nature of playing with figures and stuff. It's just brilliant. So you were saying you're talking about sort of like bringing a lot of things together in that core box. So obviously you said that it's got the 2-player thing, and then you've got the 3 to 4 player stuff as well. And then I believe it's got, and this was just looking through things, you've got 8 classic monsters in there, and then 40 support. Loads of the plastic buildings and everything as well.
Absolutely, yes. One of the big thing with this version is that it will be much more affordable than any versions before. To give you an idea, a monster like this is probably like 30 euros, maybe 30, or maybe 25 or 30 pounds, $35, and we will have 8 of those in the core box, right? The buildings like these ones. They're probably $20 each, right? In retail, you will have 24 of them in the core box. You can plus, of course, the 52 dice, the upgraded card. I didn't mention that, but we changed the layout for them,
Yeah, so we have a few of these that you've shown off. So it's kind of like you've updated and tweaked the designs to make them, I guess you'd say, like a little bit of like a quality of life thing. So it's easier to read, and all the abilities are more poppy, and you've got different icons.
Yeah, more pulp, comics or manga, and yes. And for instance, if you look specifically, you see Brawl, Blast, Power. We wrote 1 to 7 because the minimum you need if you want to use this attack is to spend 1 white dice. You will automatically get 4 blue dice and not less. And you could add power dice. And if you look at the power card, well, you see it's 1 to 5, then 4 blue dice and 1 or more red dice. In the original game, you only have like a white and blue symbol with just 1 number, and you had to remember that you needed to put at least 1 dice. And this one, it's a little more clearer. These are just details, but it's a little more clearer.
Yeah, it's been really interesting looking at what you've been doing, sort of like playing around with the stat cards and the sort of the aesthetic of the whole game. I think, as you're saying, it sort of draws it back a little bit towards that sort of cartoon, sort of comic book style to it, that Saturday morning cartoon feel of everything. I think it's very, very nice to see that kind of like quality of life adjustment and that kind of thing, which has been quite nice. You can see that in more cases here, where you've obviously got one of the old designs there at the top, and then one of the newer designs at the bottom, which is, as it says there, more readable, more accurate, that kind of thing as well, which has been quite cool. One of the other things that obviously I'm sure a lot of people would be very interested in, you obviously said this is coming to retail, which is quite awesome. So what kind of things are going to be changing from the Kickstarter version of the game through to the retail version, or is it going to stay mostly the same between the two?
It's probably going to stay mostly the same. Of course, retail price is probably going to be higher than a Kickstarter price because, it's a different model. So we can afford, and it's normal. I mean, people who go to Kickstarter pay a year ahead of time. So it's normal that they have some advantages compared to people who buy in retail. The good thing with retail is if you want to buy one thing at a time, or if you want you have it immediately. You can just, so these are 2 different models, but yes, we will most certainly go to retail. It will also depend on how successful this Kickstarter campaign is. So this is what we would like to do. We will see how if people are interested, if distributors are interested, and what we'll do compared to the current miniatures, because we have Monsterpocalypse Board Game and Monsterpocalypse Miniatures game, so these are two different things.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll see if distributors or retailers are interested in ordering the miniatures game. And what we want to do is to really have something like a big box where instead of buying your own forces separately to retail step by step, trying to find the right combination, you have everything in one box. And from one game to the other, you simply try to change things and see how it fits. The game is, you really can mix and mash all of the monsters from a specific agenda and also all of the units. And they all come with some special rules. So finding the good combination is part of the fun of the game. And with the miniatures game, you need to buy it separately. Here, you will simply have to choose from what you have. You will have a lot of minis in this game.
I think that's one of the things that we should stress again, actually, is that this is compatible with the 2018 version of the game.
Totally.
So if you're already somebody who's invested within Monsterpocalypse, this is all this stuff that is going to be coming out through this is going to be viable for what you're playing on the tabletop, which I think is always nice to see.
It's absolutely 100% compatible, and we'll even have what we'll probably call a veteran pledge. Mm-hmm. So if you're a veteran pledge and you don't want to buy again the same minis that you already have, which is perfectly fine and understandable, you could simply get the new things. So the veteran pledge will include the Battle Royale expansion with just new things. So the new maps, the 5 new Apex monsters, the new rules to play free for all or 2v2, etc. So you will have all this in the box. We will also include probably the updated stat cards. Mm-hmm. So they can have them if they want to switch to. So they could use their minis and just use the newly designed cards. We will also add in the veteran pledge the solo AI deck. You see, for Megaton for 2 players and for 3-4 players. Mm-hmm. And finally, because it will be a pledge, we want the Kickstarter backers to have a special little treat, something that only them can have, or you for free, or then you will have to pay for it. And we're going to include a special promo building. And this promo building, you guess, it's the Mythic headquarters. So,
of course.
I know that Privateer Press did that a long time ago. They had this huge skyscraper with their logos on it. And we didn't do that. We did a little Parisian Haussmannian building, much smaller and
very suitable. Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to ask you, obviously we talked about this idea of the protectors versus the planet eaters, or the protectors versus the destroyers. Sorry, are there particular characters, monsters within each that you prefer playing as? Because obviously you've played the game quite a lot now, Leo, I'd imagine. Yeah. There must be some that are these are my favorites. But yeah.
Yes. I've played the game a lot. I absolutely love this game. I mean, the game has always been so, it's not a game where you simply roll a bucket of dice and just have fun, just hope that you will score. No, it's a game. It's a strategy game. It's really... there's a ton of fun seeing your monsters and crushing the buildings but you really have to think and plan strategically. So I've played the game a lot. I absolutely love Defender X. Yes, for sure. Yes, this guy. Yes, I love Defender X. Golgadra, I love him too. But my favorite is I'm not very original. Is Defender X. I also like Terracan very much.
Yeah.
So the sort of dinosaur. Yes.
There he is.
Yeah. He's super cool. And on the destroyer side, I'd say yes, Golgadra is really, really cool. And yeah, the new Galamaxus. Well, he's not here. The This one is the old version. Oh yeah, these guys are cool too. Yes, the King Kondo and yes. Oh yeah, they are cool. But yes, I always enjoy playing Defender X. He's not the most powerful, but he can move so well, and he's so strategic to play. I really like this guy.
I was going to say, one of the things that you brought up there is quite interesting, and it's sort of illustrated here as well, is this kind of shows off the tactical elements of the game for people. Yes. So, because obviously you've got those pools of dice that you use, and it's not just about the monsters. Obviously, they're a main feature of it, but it's all about using them in conjunction with your units to secure those buildings, to then get them the additional abilities and powers and things that they need. And so you are very correct about that it's kind of got this really nice flow to it, I feel, where things sort of like you set things out and you prepare and you gather your power, and then you unleash it in some big cinematic moments on the tabletop.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, and this player at this dice pool, it's also another upgrade or change that we did. Originally, the maps were poster paper maps, and on each side you had the dice pools, but just the dice pool. And now we are providing them separately, and we are including some game aids on these. So if you play 4 players, you will each have your own dice pool. You will. One of the things that we noticed as we played casually, with people who are not war gamers and who want to just try the game, is they would always ask, what are the special attacks, special power attacks that the monsters can do? And then you would look at the rule book to just find, now you have them summed up just near your pools. It's under your eyes at all times. So you explain them once, and then people just read it. Oh, yes, I can do this one. I can do this one. So same with 3 symbols that you need to remember. You have the high mobility symbol, you have the flight symbol, and you have the all-terrain symbol that is coming next to your speed value. Well, now you don't have to look and remember, what does this symbol mean? It's all there under your eyes. And same with the little icons that we added that they were not in the original game. The terrain icon, I mentioned that, so that there's no doubt of whether this square is an open terrain or if it's a rough terrain. Well, we added also the description of these little icons. So I think you have everything under your eyes. You can play. It's more accessible, I believe, than it used to be. It really is a board game, and the material is just one of the biggest thing we've done so far.
Yeah. So obviously you've got a lot of things that you're sort of setting out at the beginning of the Kickstarter and everything like that. Do you have any surprises for backers as we go through stretch goals and that kind of thing as we continue?
Of course. This will be a big campaign with lots of stretch goals, lots of surprises, lots of add-ons. We really want people, because I mentioned the veterans. The veterans can buy just the veteran pledge, but if they didn't have everything, and if they're interested in some specific factions, they can buy them, because we will release different add-ons during the campaign. We're not telling what the all-in will be. We will reveal some new expansions as the campaign goes on. We will add, every time we reach some stretch goals, we will add the content to the core box. You can expect more monsters. Yes, more monsters, more buildings, more units, everything going to the core box. And of course, some specific add-ons that will be really cool. And yes, we like to do some animations, and we like to make the campaign very enjoyable, very entertaining. So we will have several little things throughout the campaign.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Leo, for talking to us about Monsterpocalypse Board Game. It's coming to, it's going to be on Kickstarter as you're probably watching this, which is fantastic.
Let's just say the price. We didn't give the price.
Oh, of course, yes. What's the price for the core pledge and stuff?
The core box with what I said, like 8 monsters, 40 units, 24 buildings, 2 maps, 52 dice, and etc., will be $119.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah. The Battle Royale expansion will be $49. And then we'll have the expansions and so on. And the Kickstarter starts tomorrow, right?
Yeah, well, it's probably already going as we're speaking, which is fantastic. Which means that everyone is going to be watching this and then diving straight into checking out the campaign, which is great.
So
as I say, Leo,
ending on the 19th of November.
Yes, so it's a little bit of a shorter one than some might have expected for Kickstarter and things, but that still gives you plenty of time to dive in and have a look at all the fantastic stuff that you guys are doing alongside Privateer Press for this. As I say, Leo, been fantastic talking to you about this.
Thank you, Ben.
Monsterpocalypse is an amazing little game. If you've not played it before as its sort of miniature version, then I definitely recommend going to check this one out as a board game. As you say, these pre-assembled miniatures, all the fantastic upgrades to the components, the gameplay sort of upgrades and that quality of life thing as well, all been fantastic to see. I think we're probably going to have to try and break out some monsters and start smashing things up, I think, in the future. But yes, make sure to go and check out the Kickstarter as it's running right now. And we'll be back with Leo, no doubt, in the future for more awesome projects. Thank you again, Leo. And
thank you,
see
Ben.
You guys
Thank you,
very, very soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.